Absolutely.
So I'm sitting with a big man in Lagos about 5 years ago. Big man, rich
in quotes,
man.
yeah.
In quotes. Who says he likes entertainment? In fact, he says he likes it so much that he has invested in entertainment and his fingers got burnt. I put so much money. I said it was Eldee. He said I put money in Eldee, and if I said in Yoruba, boys, I got low mini. They just use my money. So I'm thinking, okay, these two things don't gel. Eldee is not that guy.
Okay, I'm glad.
Yeah, I mean, Eldee is not that guy. Even with all the stardom, and Eldee was always the chill one. So this whole one low me is not Eldee. I'm like, there's something. I'll ask you when I see you. And then I heard an interview where you said that, look, if I was your podcast, where you said that, look, some monies were coming, but the monies were not coming to us.
Right.
So maybe that man will watch this and understand what happened there.
So, and this is a conversation that it took me a long time to have it publicly because I didn't want it to feel like I was trying to clean up anything, because there was nothing to clean up. And I didn't also think that it was a story that needed to go out, because I know how our gossip people function, our blogs, and I needed no mudslinging at the time. I just needed clarity. So essentially what happened was Shayman introduced me to a gentleman named Shayman.
Okay.
Shayman, the artist, producer.
Okay.
Entrepreneur. Shout out to Shayman. Shayman introduced me to a gentleman by the name of Eldee Tha Don, who was at the time he had a capital advisory firm. So what do? They look for businesses, they invest in businesses, they have people who fund those portfolios that they used to invest, right? And so their whole thing at the time to me was, hey, you know what? You have this thing going on, it's going great. You've got these artists, you've got all this music. Let's partner and set up a bigger entertainment entity, right? Which was Iman Entertainment. So anyway, it sounds interesting to me. Doesn't take anything away. It was somewhat along the lines of the kind of expansion that I was looking for. So I said, oh yeah, sure. So I already was making moves to sort of blow what I was doing up a little bit bigger. So it sounded interesting. So we sat down, we're going to put in so millions of dollars, and we're going to do this, and we're going to build that, and blah, 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 blah. Sure, no problem. So I'm on the board. Excuse me. But unbeknownst to me, like they say, what essentially was happening was him and his partner, being the capital advisory firm, had the people who were funding what was supposed to be Iman Entertainment. However, Iman Entertainment was not getting money. So Eldee, who is the face of Tribe and Iman, is basically everywhere trying to hold everything together out of my personal finances, with all of the resources that I had, all the relationships that I had. And I get a little bit emotional about it now, and this is probably the first time that I have, really. But there were a lot of people. For me, I didn't really care, because it's business. Sometimes it works, sometimes it doesn't. But there were a lot of people who were sort of caught in the middle. The artists, the staff, the businesses the vendors, the people who supplied furniture, the people who supplied some equipment, the people who supplied the inverter systems, the generators, all of that. So now I'm caught up with all of these guys, telling them, no worry, money they come. No worry, money they come. And every now and again, obviously, I reach into my accounts in the US, reach into my accounts in Nigeria, I make some money. I'm throwing money to sort of cover all of this stuff, because Mr. Akindele and his partner basically kept, no, don't worry, everything's coming. So where you're supposed to get $1 million, you get 10,000. And don't worry, just tell those people to wait, we'll do da. So anyway, long story short is we got played. And I admit that, because I wasn't as wise at the time. I didn't really understand the dynamics of those capital, his company was called Synergy Capital at the time, but I think that folded up now because they probably got into a bunch of trouble. And so he had to float a new entity to continue his business. So here's the model of what they do. And I think it's important to have this conversation as well, just so that if there's anyone out there who gets approached by these people, there are certain things that you need to be very, very aware of. So what they do is they go to people who have large chunks of money and they say, hey, bring your money, we will invest it for you. Now, in the investing world, if you know anything about venture capital, you'll understand that not all businesses succeed. That is the expectation. But we will have unicorns. We will have one or two that will do very, very well. And usually the profits from those one or two that do very well will cover up for all the losses on all the other ones. So what do these companies do, these little advisory firms? They go to these people that have money. They say, hey, we're starting a fund. We want to invest in entertainment. We're starting a fund. We want to invest in oil and gas. We're starting a fund. We want to invest in Nollywood. And so bring your money. We will invest in these projects. And as we make money, we will give you returns. Obviously, they just have money and they just want to put it into something. They're not as close to the business. And so all they do is check in every now and again. Oh, so how's everything going? So how's everything going? So what do these capital advisory companies do? They look for businesses that look the part, businesses that they can sell to the people who are funding them. Say, look at this business. It's doing very well. This is one we should invest in. MOA, right? So they take money, put money into, supposedly, into those businesses. And then, some of them fail, some of them succeed. But here's the racket. Their plan from the beginning is to actually prevent the business from being successful. They may have one or two that they know, okay, you know what, these two are definitely going to work, but these other 8 or these other 15 or however many they are, these ones are just going to be our lifestyle budget. And what do I mean by lifestyle budget? I'm talking about synergy capital as in my personal experience. And I can't speak for anyone else, even though I've met 8 other people at least who had the same type of dealings with the same capital advisory firm. What they were doing was they take the money from the investors, they make some type of, they create some type of scenario to the investors that demonstrates, this is what we're spending the money on, right? So things like, let's go to London. We're doing a show in London for the London Fashion Week. So then they invite all the investors. So the investors come, they see us on stage at Fashion Week in London, and they're like, yes, this is going very well. Let's go to South Africa. Let's shoot videos in South Africa. And so we get to South Africa to shoot videos, and I'm paying for the videos, even though, because we're already there. But there's no money. The transfer, something happened. They could not, something. So now I'm there with the whole crew, with everyone, cameras, lights, everything, and money is expected. So Eldee has to dip into his pocket because I have to save face. I am the face of the company. So now I'm putting money in my pockets to pay for things that make this advisory firm look good to their investors. Of course, I wasn't aware in the beginning, but towards the end of it, I realized, okay, this is the game that you guys are playing. And so I pulled the plug. So essentially, that's their racket. Take money from investors, lie to the investors that you're spending money in the business, use the money for something else, buy cars for your girlfriends, go on luxury trips to China, London, Dubai, Seychelles, wherever it is. Sometimes invite one of us. I was actually a sucker for one of those a couple of times. Let's go to London. Tell the investors, we're in London, we're meeting with XYZ. We went to the New York Stock Exchange today, right? So now the investors are seeing all of this and they're like, this is going really, really well. But they don't realize that what's happening is they're being fleeced by Toye and his partner. So that's essentially what happened.
Wow.
And that's how that whole thing sort of crumbled. Now, it did sort of line up with the time when matter of fact, I was already mentally checking out, because I told them in the beginning, I said, look, I'm going to help set this up, but my goal is not to be the CEO, because I need to pull back out of this. I'm going to groom people who will take the business and run with it, which is why it made sense to me for us to even call it Iman Entertainment in the first place. I'm going to step back and I'm going to go do what I do. And then all these artists and everything else that we're grooming, you guys can continue with the business, because I was already on my way out. So all of that happening was part of the reasons why I was like, you know what? No shema. And thank you very much. And a lot of other things were happening for me, obviously, on this side. I had my tech and, businesses and ventures that I was doing at the time. So I didn't really care. It was a learning experience.
How long did it take you to wake up from start to finish?
It took me a while. It took me, I would say, about really 9 months before I realized what was happening.
That's not a long time.
No, it's long. It's long if I have vendors that are hounding me.
Okay, it's long if it's cumulatively every day.
It's long.
You're going this.
It's long when I have staff that I can't pay their salaries. It's long. There's so many people right now who my relationship with is broken, and I really couldn't even get into the conversation with a lot of them. I think the only person I've ever actually had this conversation with, as part of the staff at the time, well, two people. Actually, I say two people. There are a few people that I've had this conversation with, but not with the majority of the people that I worked with at the time. You know, the MSCs, the Bookies, the Ruckuses, the K9s. I spoke with Soje, Eva, even Shayman and I have not really
Eva
talked
Aludia?
about it. Yes.
Oh, she was part of.
She was part of the group. Yeah.
Okay.
There were so many people, like lawyers, accountants, the vendors, like there's so many people. The poor lady who supplied furniture, like there's so many things that happen where it really broke relationships. And that's the part of it that really bothers me, is how do you sleep at night knowing fully well that you are not just taking advantage of these businesses, but that you're destroying people's lives. That part really bothers me. And I think that's the part that gets me emotional about it. It's because there are all these people. Ruckus left his family in Houston to move to Nigeria for this project, right? Soje left his family in Port Harcourt to move to Lagos for this project. Eva had a thing going. She didn't have to join us. SARS was already kind of on the come up. He didn't have to be part of it. All of these people whose lives got disrupted simply because you people were playing some type of hush puppy games. You know what I mean? So it's just, and it goes to show, you know, the kind of mind it takes for you to, against all odds, be willing to destroy things for your own benefit. As smart as these people are, if they actually put their smarts towards legitimate business, I guarantee you they will be very, very rich. But it's hard for them to make any kind of progress financially because, you know what I'm saying? So, and I'm glad that I'm able to talk about it now. I'm pretty sure that his brother, Uncle B, who you might know, I haven't had a chance to actually talk to him about this, but I'm pretty sure he's aware now because I heard that they had some issue shortly after I left. And all the other people who have had to deal with this, I know a lot of people here in Atlanta who've dealt with them, specifically them. And I know that they're not the only capital advisory firm that does this. There are a bunch of them in Nigeria who basically just, you know, play the same game. Find something that looks shiny, tell some people you're going to invest in it, take the money, chop it, buy yourself Range Rover. The saddest part, and this is something else too that I think I should say. I know his family. This is Toye now. I know Toye's family pretty well. He doesn't take care of his family, even though he's fleecing all of these people of their money. That part also bothers me. So it speaks to the kind of person, you know, that you are, that you, it takes a really, really dark soul to be able to want to take advantage of people in that way and not care about even your own family. I saw a lot of things, you know, personal things that I shouldn't even talk about, that it was a learning experience. Like I learned a lot.
Wow.
I learned a lot.
Wow. So that for you was like the last straw that just broke the camel with all this Nigeria thing.
Not necessarily. There were a bunch of other things, you know, that were happening, but that, for me, that was just a business learning experience.
Okay, that was business.
That was just a business thing. I mean, I've done a bunch of business with a bunch of people, some that worked out really, really well, and some that didn't quite work out. So that, for me, was just a business thing that didn't work out. What bothers me and what pains me about it is there were a lot of people who trusted me, and that's the reason they were in that situation. And to those people, I feel still responsible for a lot of the stuff that happened, even though I never talked to them and said, oh yeah, this is I always tried to cover it up, because guess what? I am the CEO. I can't be with my employees telling them, well, our investors never drop money. That's why I can't pay you this month. I have to come up with a story. I have to figure out ways to say, okay, you know what, just take this one first, just hold this one first, just do that one first. I'm the one who's losing face while Toye is flying around the world on monies that's supposed to be invested in a business venture that we had together. You know what I mean? So, yeah.
Hi. Thank you for watching this video thus far. I know at this point you want to keep enjoying the video and you don't want me interrupting, but this is as far as this comes. So first of all, again, thank you. So at this point you have three options. The first thing to do will be to subscribe to our podcast and then listen to the entire interview uninterrupted. So you can do that. Just go to the Teju Babyface Deep Dive podcast, wherever you get your podcast from. Or secondly, you could become one of our members, one of our YouTube members. Just subscribe to the membership below. Our members get to watch the full videos uninterrupted. Okay? Or third, if you do none of those two, you could wait around for a couple of days for us to keep posting the clips of this interview. But I can assure you that we're not going to post everything. We're just going to keep posting clips here and there. Obviously, of course, I'd prefer that you do number one and number two. Subscribe to the podcast, download and listen to the audio, and also become one of our members. That's how you show your support for us. Thank you very much. God bless you. Wait for the next one.